Thank you and good evening, and I hope I can shed some light of making it simple and accessible. As you know, that the EBU represents public service media organizations, and for them both broadcast and broadband delivery are extremely important because they play a crucial role in offering content to European citizens. An efficient combination of both offers unprecedented possibilities for audiences, giving them more choice to access content and services anytime and anywhere and all platforms and on a multitude of devices. Terrestrial television is by far the most used means still to receive broadcast services. Around 240 million people, that is 46% of the EU households, rely on terrestrial television. And there is a very good reason why this is so, because digital terrestrial television delivers affordable, universal, free-to-air and good quality access to a wide range of channels. At the same time, the open internet gives access to a great choice of interactive services, catch-up TV, for example, and catch-up radio services, and other services which complement the linear offer of public service media, often combined in what we would call a hybrid broadcast broadband offer. So making the best of both worlds is really the motto for us. So I'd briefly like to comment what is now on the table on the relevant positions. We certainly appreciate the good work which has been done so far by the European Parliament to clarify the provisions relating to spectrum management. And I just want to highlight three elements. First of all, there's a compromise amendments now which recognizes the social and cultural values of radio spectrum as well as its importance for broadcasting, which previously was not in the regulation, and the contribution of radio spectrum policy to the freedom and the plurality of the media. It is now clarified that the principles of the Telecom package and the radio spectrum policy program apply to the proposed regulation. And thirdly, national authorities are required to ensure that any change in policy with regard to the efficient use of spectrum takes account of its impact on harmful interference and costs. Very important also for broadcasters who will have to move out of some spectrum. Now, briefly turning to the net neutrality provisions. About the definitions, we've already heard that this has been one of the main, mostly and hotly debated issues, and much improvement has been achieved. And in our view, it's crucial that definitions are clear in order to guarantee a dynamic coexistence of the different services. And I want to stress here that we are obviously not against the existence of specialized services, which some people have said. On the contrary, because IPTV, for example, is a valuable service which also carries public service media channels. But it should be ensured that the open internet remains the norm and does not become the exception. Significant progress has been made on the definitions, as I said, including a welcome safeguard which stipulates that specialized services shall only be offered if they are not to the material detriment of the availability or quality of internet access services. Now to traffic management. This is also, of course, one of the other core provisions here. While we acknowledge that traffic management is necessary under certain well-defined conditions, we regret that the relevant article does not contain a clear principle which would prohibit discrimination against specific content, application or services. The relevant wording was proposed by the Commission and has now unfortunately disappeared. Discrimination can appear in many different forms. It could take the form of price discrimination or discriminatory conditions on volumes and data rates against specific content, for example. At this stage, unfortunately, the wording is not clear enough, we find, and it is not sufficiently clear to us to what extent the current wording would allow specific content or services to be discriminated against with internet access packages, for example. And there is also some ambiguity about the possibility, for example, to exclude certain services from data cap limits. A clear non-discrimination provision is also important to prevent that vertically integrated operators who offer internet access service and managed services at the same time abuse their position. So clearly there is some more work necessary, we believe. And finally, some improvement could still be made to a specific provision which talks about the prevention of network congestion, which we believe gives too much room for interpretation what can be done in this context. Now, to summarize, public service media organizations are making use of both broadcast and broadband delivery platforms in a complementary way to offer a full range of linear and non-linear services to their audiences. Strong and clear, and there I would really agree also with Malcolm and other speakers, strong and clear net neutrality rules and appropriate radio spectrum management should be used by policymakers to ensure universally accessible, high quality and efficient media distribution, and this should be a part of a comprehensive European media and content strategy. Thank you.